Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. Just give me a second to toggle on live streaming and we'll let some other folks join in over there. A note to all the folks that are currently attending, we are in a listen only mode, and we have an interactive Q&A button that is present at the bottom of your Zoom console. And if you want to interact with the speakers, please let us know, and that would be like your go-to button. If you have any questions, we will also have a dedicated time, like that's at about 10 minutes. That will be towards the end of the session, and that would be the Q&A session. Do you want to share your screen, Pedro? So I'm Yukti. I'll be your moderator here at here at this webinar. So one of my main jobs here at SingleStore is to organize these weekly AI webinars and take care of the end-to-end operational tasks of these webinars. And this webinar is a partner webinar that is in collaboration with Drizzle. So Drizzle is like a very valued partner with us. And thanks, Andrew, for joining. He's the co-founder of Drizzle. So we're very excited to have him. Thanks for your time. So this webinar, as you can see on your screen, is called Building Modern Data Apps with TypeScript, Drizzle ORM, and SingleStore. We have an awesome demo that Pedro and Andre have worked really hard on for preparing. So please engage with that whenever if you don't have time right now to attend the full session, the session will be recorded and the recording will be sent to you via email. Also, we are offering $600 worth of free credits, so I'll be putting the links to everything in the chat. And in case you need any resources, just hit me up. You can connect with all of us on LinkedIn. If you have any feedback regarding the session, let us know. We are very open to it. And Pedro, would you like to talk about the demo or maybe some introductions?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Yukti, and hello, everyone. Welcome once again. Today we have a very special demo. We're going to show you the capabilities both for SingleStore and for Drizzle as well. For those of you who don't know Drizzle, Andrew is going to present a bit more of what Drizzle is and what you can do with it. But I'll start to present a single store. And then if you can navigate to the third slide, please. One more. Yeah, perfect. So SingleStore is a distributed database that started in 2011 as MemSQL. Um, and we started as a memory database, mainly for analytical purposes. But around 2020, we rebranded to SingleStore and switched the focus to be a all-in-one database, which means we do support both analytical, transactional, and vector columns. And so we're pretty much cover every use case that you might have with your pipelines and workflows. We already count with 400 customers and reach 100 million ARR at the moment. Next slide, please. So we are basically available as an on-prem on your infrastructure, but also on cloud and hybrid solutions. As I already stated, we support row-based tables for analytical for transactional, sorry, operations, column tables for analytical ones, so for OLAP, for the database folks, and also vector columns for semantic search, very important in this new artificial intelligence world. Next. So, as I already stated, we are an all-in-one solution for your data pipelines and workflows. Some of the use cases are for to be integrated on your RAG workflows as your database. We can integrate easily with any of your LLMs, as well as with many data sources and data providers like Snowflake, Databricks, and Amazon Redshift. We can do this by pipelines, which is on the next slide. We can connect with data sources, very well-known data sources like Google Cloud Storage, Kafka, Amazon S3, MongoDB, MySQL, and many others. And these pipelines basically ingest information in real time. Um, for you to have a better sense, we can ingest circa a million of records per second with immediate availability, and this means that you can migrate or your data through one platform to another, or basically create an ETL process without downtime. And we are very versatile. We support formats like, besides the native data types, JSON, Avro, Parquet, Iceberg, and CSV files. So now that you have a better sense of what SingleStore is, I'll pass to Andri, that's going to explain us a bit more of what Drizzle is and what you can do with it.
Yeah, thank you, Pedro. It's really great to be here so I can explain a bit more about Drizzle. Let's start with a small history about Drizzle and why we created that. So Drizzle is an ORM to help you communicate with your database in TypeScript, to have a type safety, to have a lot of different options for like databases, and having and this ability to work with your schema, with your queries really easy. We started like 4 years ago when we had our own projects that we wanted to make communication with database much easier. And there was a team of 3, and we've created a small setup for one of the databases that we were using back then. And it went really, really well that we started using it on other projects, and eventually we open sourced that to show everyone else in the world that you can use it for free if this is open source, and we will try to make it even better for you. And we started from 2 libraries like Drizzle ORM for your queries and schema definitions for databases, and then we've done the Drizzle kit to make migrations really easy, especially for databases where not all of the DDL statements can be done easily, and we try to fix it with the Drizzle kit package. And through the time we grew to 11 open source libraries already, which all of them which we are using for ourselves as well. A lot of them are used by another libraries that used by another libraries, like we've like doing such helper tools for us as well. And then we have this Drizzle Studio package to show your tables, databases, like your data, and working with the data in UI. And now we are like 14 people working full time to actually bring this data layer developer experience for everyone. And through the course of these 4 years, we have this graph to showcase like the most popular and old ORMs that are in this field. And as you can see, starting around 3 years ago, we grew really fast, and we almost suppressed the SQLizing type ORM libraries, showing that people really love it and it actually solving their problems. And even if we will go to Yeah, sorry. And then if we'll go to the downloads chart as well, which is a bit more important, I guess, because you can actually see the usage, is that we are getting closer and closer to other ORMs just because we're really new. We're just 3-4 years versus almost 10 or more years for other libraries. And this trend for me is showing that people really, really like what we are doing, and I hope it can solve your problems as well. And we will talk about what problems it can solve. And recently, so we started with some other databases and support for that. And recently, we're working with SingleStore team to bring SingleStore to Drizzle. And we try to make as much features as we can there to make working with SingleStore better for you. So one of the like big process for using Drizzle and SingleStore is first is a native vector support that we can make storing your vectorized data in SingleStore easier, to make mapping for that easier, using specific queries and indexes for storing your vectorized data as well, which is completely native in Drizzle, and you can use it together with SingleStore. When you're using like analytical data, for example, you need to have some extended index definitions options and explain like algorithms for indexes, how it should be stored, maybe vector indexes that can help you select and querying your vectorized data much faster and more performant way. So we try to bring like SingleStore specific is to Drizzle as well, so you can define your schema in a way I guess it will be hard to do it with other libraries for that. Also, we try to make the extended query building capabilities to embrace what actually SingleStore can do, adding some possibilities to have a custom aggregation functions, custom columns that you can define and then use in the type-safe manner. And then we're working a lot on optimizing the mapping strategy, meaning that getting your data from database to your TypeScript application or JavaScript application and mapping into the real objects should be as fast as it possible for now. And one of the updates we're preparing for one of the future releases can make it even faster, because this exactly part is important for us. So you can select anything from SingleStore fast, and then Drizzle won't slow you down because SingleStore is fast. You can do that really great, and then Drizzle won't slow you down, so you can keep the same performance really well for you. So those, and there are a lot of other things that I definitely sure you will find through your way of using Drizzle and SingleStore together. One of the projects we have called $1 stats, which is basically web analytics, where you can store the events for like visits, page views, so anything you need for your application. And storing this data and then selecting and aggregating this data is quite tough task, and you need to get the good database capabilities to make this work perfectly for you, so you can store like millions, billions, or trillions of data points, no matter on which scale you are. And your database should be able to give you the responses really fast, to have specific aggregation functions, partitions, etc., to make it actually work for your analytic data, because OLAP databases and OLTP databases is a bit different, and this one is important. And we'll have a demo actually showcasing how we can set up the schema using Drizzle that can effectively store page view events, which we then can use to calculate like visitors, page views, and all other web analytics specific data. And then we can write Drizzle queries actually to showcase the type safety and the way you can develop and add new features to this. For example, this demo app really fast. And then you can actually use the SingleStore powers to bring and select and query your events really fast. And this is also important because, for example, if it's web analytics as a service, it means you will have different tenants, different companies using that, and amount of events will grow eventually really fast. And then you need to have a possibility to actually filter by those tenants, and then you need the possibility to separate all of that. So it's like a quite hard task, and having possibility to dynamically create queries in types of manner is really important. So we will go through the demo for this application. I can guide you through the dashboard, SingleStore dashboard, how to create a database, how to get the connection link, and then how we will set up our project. I will stop presenting this one, and let's go to the demo we have. So we will start, first of all, I already started this application because I seed the database with 1 million event points to showcase like you have a million page view event data points, and then we will query that and see how it actually performs and works. So in this demo, we will go through the different packages. First of all, we will showcase Drizzle ORM and Drizzle Kit for migration capabilities. Then we will go, we'll have Hono API just to showcase the real end-to-end API and how you can actually get some data using the HTTP queries. And then we're using MySQL 2 package just to connect to SingleStore, because like Drizzle ORM uses some clients that will connect to a database. And for this specific case, we are using not the latest versions, but the beta version that will be released soon, just because we recently added SingleStore to Drizzle Seed package. And to showcase you this, we installed the beta version of this, but once it's live, it will be available through this simple tag as the firmware 0.4.0. So most of the time, when I start developing something, I start with defining my schema in TypeScript, which is really easy to do. So the one thing that I'm doing is either write an actual SQL statement and then move it to the Drizzle, or I can even start doing Drizzle right away. I've done both just to showcase you that we try to be one-to-one to SQL definition. So if you know SQL, you can actually really fast do everything with Drizzle, because you can also have an autocomplete, which I'll also show you. I think I need to zoom in a bit just in case. Maybe like this. Yeah, so as you can see here, we have in the event ID for each event we have. Then we have the customer ID. It's like a tenant for your analytics as a service. And then we have user ID. It's a specific user that visited the website, but this is not like we know what the user is. So we are totally anonymizing everything. And for this one, we are using hash, where you have like user agents and some of the information that we will hash. And will be some custom identification for user to calculate like unique visitors, for example, or something that we need to know that the exact same user from the same device, same IP, the same place visited the website. It doesn't mean it's 100% accurate on if it's exactly the same person, but it's like it tries to be as accurate as possible. Then we have the page URL, actually the URL that was visited by a person, event type, that is a page view for us, time when this action happened, and then some metadata if you need to store that. We just added that to showcase you JSON capabilities we have. And with Drizzle, it looks like this. So I saying that we have a SingleStore table called events. Then we say that, okay, we have an ID that is big integer auto increment. Then we have customer ID that is int not null, so on, so on. Then you have this pretty nice thing that you can say, okay, we have a type, this varchar, but then we're saying that this varchar can be only of this string. So it can become the enum by the powers of the TypeScript. And then when we have, like, if you want to define a default, TypeScript will help us saying that you can only have like page view. That's why I have only this default. If we will have some other event, then TypeScript will help us here and explain what we can use, because we explained that, okay, in database it's just a varchar, but for our application, we will always use some specific strings that can help us as well. Then we have a datetime, explaining that by default, it will just get the current time and put it into the database, so we don't need to generate that. And then we have metadata explaining that we have a JSON here. And of course, we need to have some primary keys, and our primary key will be for ID and time at the same time. So it's a composite primary key that you can define with Drizzle as well. This third param is specifically for some complex constraints that you need to define. So we have the table defined for our events. And then I won't hit the push command, but you can use the Drizzle kit push command that will get this table and sync it with the actual database. So Drizzle kit will do all the hard work for you. It will read the actual TypeScript schema, translate it to this SQL that you see here, and will put this table in your database. And you will have it right away, and you can already play with that and already add the data there if you need. So I'm just skipping this step here because we already have it, because we already seeded with 1 million events. It just takes some time to insert million events in the database. That's why I did it before the webinar started, just so we won't just sit and wait for that. But right now we have this table in the database. And the next step for us would be actually to use this database, seed it with the data, and then use it in our API, like HONO API. But for that, we need firstly to get the database connection. So if you will go to the SingleStore dashboard, you will see the deployments page and the database we are going to use. And you can then connect to this specific database. And to get the connection for Drizzle and SingleStore, you need to hit connect. You need to hit your app here. And then you need to choose the Node.js plus Drizzle, where you can get the connection string. You need just to change the password here, and then you're ready to use it. So I already done this step. I already have the database URL in my environment variables. And so you then can do the same here. And then we can start using the database. If I'll open my index.ts file, then we have this main script. So this main script is using actually Drizzle Seed package. So this reset and seed functions are imported from Drizzle Seed right here. And those functions are used to either truncate your table or seed it with new values. And reset function is getting our database instance for Drizzle, and then the tables we've defined right here in Schema. So we explain, and please reset the database, remove all the data, and then populate the database with new data. One of the great things about Drizzle Seed is that Drizzle Seed is a deterministic seeding, means no matter how many times you will reseed your database, the data always will be the same until you will change the seed number that's showing the randomness of the data. So the randomness for the data with the seed number 1, 2, 3, 4 will be always the same. But once I'm changing the seed number, the randomness will change. But after that, all of other seeding with the same seed number will be the same data that you expect. This is really great for testing because in your test cases, you don't need to write down all of your models. You don't need to write down mock data that you need to put to the database. Drizzle Seed will create this data. You will know that this data will never change, and then in your test cases, you can assume and expect the same data from run to run, and then it makes the process much, much easier. And also, one of the great things about Drizzle Seed is that you can refine the strategy of what data will be populated in your database. So in this case, what we will do is seed the database table events, and then we will refine a bit to make it close to the production look of event data points we have. So for events page table, we explained that please populate 1 million events. But for customer ID, let's use the weighted random. So let's do the thing that we will have customer with ID from 0 to 3 with a chance of 80%, meaning there will be 80% of customers 0, 1 to 3, and only 20% for customers 4 and 5, meaning that first 3 customers are the most active one, and 4 and 5 are the least active. So to just simulate, not to make it 50-50, but simulate the way how we will weight the random for our seed. Then we've done the same for user ID. So this some hash, for example, for a user generated from the IP, user agent, and some other data. And then we're saying that those 5 users will be the most active. They will be in 95% of the situation, the events will come from one of those 5 users, meaning those really active users. For example, we have analytics for the documentation, and those 5 users really want to use your product, and they're looking into the documentation really like a lot. And then other 10 users will use and hit the tables pages, only in 5% chance. So those are least active users. So with Drizzle Seed, we can actually explain some of the real world data, and you can configure whatever you need here. Then we're saying, okay, just randomly pick one of the pages for the event. So we just generated some fake pages, and page URL will be one of these strings. And then we're saying, okay, for type, always use page views, and for time, let's just take from 1st July to July 16th, just to not make a really big like time range. Let's make a bit smaller time range, so it will be easier for us to test it. And once it's seeded, you can just sort the app, and we can start working with that. So if we will go to the database and actually try to look to the events, we will see with which data it was populated. So we have this one, and then we need to hit the events and the sample data. Here we have like million of like data points, but we will see a bit less here. So you can see it's like a lot. And then I think you can do the pagination here. I'm not sure, but this is what we have. We have some random ID. We have customers. As you can see, we have a lot of 1, 2, and 3 users because they have 80% of chance, and only 4 and 5. There are not a lot of them because they are only 20% of chance to be here. The same is for user ID, the same is for page URL that is seeded, etc., etc. So it really looks like a production use case for events that also can help us to check how it works. And then, and then we can actually check all of our endpoints we have and how they work. So basically for this one, I've used the Drizzle queries right in the endpoints just to showcase how it works. And here what we have, first one is like post event. So for example, someone just hit an event and we need to explain our backend server that we actually got an event. We have it in like in JSON body. And then we explain that we have a type of infer select from the events, meaning that we have an array of keys that we can actually insert into the events. If we can check the request body, we can see that this is an array of actual keys that we defined in events table. And some of them are optional, some of them are not. It's because some of them are not null, some of them are nullable, and infer select knows about all of that and infer back to you the real shape of what you can actually put and what you should put and what you can put. So optional and required fields we have. And then we're using the query builder explaining that please insert events and values that user provided to us. And we will respond with OK status. And then we have a set of examples that we can use for aggregational and analytical queries to actually check what we have in our database. So first of all, it's like a total pages that we viewed. So with Drizzle is actually easy to explain. We're saying you can select the key total page views, which will count all. If you can check the docs here, it will say how we can use that. So we have pretty great JS doc that with all the documentation. And then we say from events where type is page view. So let's count all of the total page views for all of the customers we have, all of the users we have. This is like the simplest query we have that we can showcase. Then let's go a bit further and actually let's show the page view, but for the specific tenant, for the specific customer, and for the specific time frame, saying, okay, show me the page views from 1st of July to 7th of July for the customer with ID 3, for example. And then we just read in all the data from the query parameters, and then we can run the query to the database. It also should be translated closely one-to-one to how you'll write in SQL, saying that, okay, let's also count the page views for events, but we need them to be equals to page views. We need them to be equals to the specific tenant or customer, and then the time frame should be like time should be between the start and end date that user defined in the query he's doing to the backend. Then we can do the daily views, which will bring us a bit more aggregations and things we need to write in our SQL. So let's check the daily views. So day by day views for some specific customer. In this case, we need not only page views, but actual date with which this number will be associated. And for this case, Drizzle have this really great SQL template that can be used inside some query in different places. And in this case, we explain that we need a field day that will get the date for some specific event and then count it, and then we can group by an order by this specific field in this select query, because we have this callback that knows about all the keys we already selected from our query that we can then use. Sorry, jumped over. Yeah. And this is how we will define. So like as an SQL, you have a select where you define in what you want to aggregate to get. Then you have the from clause, then you have where clause, explaining everything. Then you have a group by, order by, and all of that is translated to one SQL query that will get you data back. And all the data, as you can see, is getting back as like in type-safe manner. For count, you can see number. And for day, you can see unknown, just because we're using the like raw SQL, and if we actually would need to get the type for that, we can define it here as well. And then we have really nice query, which I like, which is top view, like top 10 pages that viewed by someone. So if you have this analytic table that's showing you each page, the most popular page, and showing like top 10 of them, then we actually need to make this query. And it's also possible with Drizzle. So first of all, we need to get the page URL that should be showed for you and the views for this URL. And then, which is most important, we need to order by the views. And also having the callback here means we can reuse any key we already aggregated previously. And then we can do the descending order for our pages. And then we can group by each page URL to get the exact views count. And then we'll limit by 10 just to get to the top 10 events. And then we can get back the data. And one of the also great thing is unique visitors and using some specific functions that SingleStore has as well. So we can count approximate amount of events or approximate amount of unique visitors we have. If we have a lot of data and in some places we don't care about the exact value. We need approximate number of something. Then we can use the function to make it even faster to get the data. And it's also really great with Drizzle because you can define this with SQL tag, which can do whatever you need. But then you can actually use the keys from your table to make it type safe and make a possibility to jump over there, check what is the value here, then go back. So it's all of that is really tightly coupled together. And for this one, we will use these functions just to get the approximate amount of users we have. And then we can get the response back. So this is just a showcase for that. And if we can get the insomnia, for example, and let's see how it works. So let's use the top 10 endpoint. We will use it for customer number 5 with the time frame for the 1st to 15th of July. And then we will hit get, and we can see how amount of views we have for each page here. And all of that is ordered, or yeah, it's ordered descending. And as you can see, the time it's getting is 136 milliseconds. But a really important part here that almost all of this time is because my database cluster is in US East 1, so it's in US, and I'm in Europe. And all of this time is basically time for requests to go to the database and come back. And then all the subsequent requests are actually the same, meaning around, so sending requests in 131 milliseconds, like 5-6 milliseconds for 1 million event data points, which I'm pretty sure 100 millions will do the same for you. And then we can aggregate it really fast. And we can get the data, for example, for user number 2. Those users, as we remember, should be the most active. And as you can see, it's like almost 14K views for the top page for them. The same should be for customer number 3, yes, and customer number 4 should be like the same as 5, is 6,000, meaning that Drizzle Seed did its job really well. And SingleStore did a job also really well because we can get data almost instantly here. Then let's go to some other endpoint to check how it works, so we can get the daily views endpoint, for example. Let's see if it works. Yep, so we have views by day for each customer. Let's make ID number 2, and we can see the same amount of them here. And for the last showcase, let's do this unique visitors one. To be honest, I didn't check this one, so it will be demo for me as well. And we will see how it works. Yeah, so we have like 15 unique visitors for customer number 2. Maybe for number 4, there will be different amount, but no. Seems like we have the same amount for all of the customers we have. Just the way Drizzle Seed was defined the unique, like the visitors and users for each customer. Yeah, so this is basically everything I wanted to show you. And thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andriy. I hope you, after this demo, have a better understanding of this amazing tool, which is Drizzle, and that it combines so well with SingleStore. Before we move to the Q&A, we would also like to announce and to showcase, show you a pre-recording of how you can build an app, a Drizzle app, so a TypeScript app using Drizzle and SingleStore together with just the Copilot, or with the Copilot as a coding assistant. So let me just share my screen. Wait. Okay. And make sure to share the sound as well. Okay. Oh, you should probably. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, awesome. And are you able to listen to the video?
No, actually, I would
Mm.
recommend that you press on, you might see the share button that is there on the console, right? Are you able to see the button? It's present in the Zoom console. If you share using that, like you might have the file in your computer, you might be able to share it with sound.
Okay, which one? Sorry for the technical issues,
No
everybody.
worries. Stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you go to Zoom, go to your console. You will see a share button. It's in green color, right?
Yes.
So then over there, you select and uh, click on share sound, and then it will there's a small like on top, there's like three options, right? Screen, documents, advanced. So you go on documents, and then it will let you like share with sound.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. Like, I hope it works for you. In case it doesn't work, we can always share the link to the video, right? That's also okay. Like,
Yes,
follow. Let's try it.
let's try it out. Wait. One minute. Okay, it seems that I'm not being able to share the screen even this way. So I think the best way is to share the screen the link for the video, and
Awesome.
we'll be also releasing very soon a blog post showcasing step by step how you can build a Drizzle app using our MCP server. So stay tuned, and I think we can now move on to the Q&A.
Awesome. So I have a lot of questions for you. Like regarding the MCP server, let's do another webinar on that. Like how about that, right? That would be the best way to do it. And we'll like plan it pretty well and like execute it nicely. So I have some questions for the team. Uh, so like for the audience as well, that's there live right now. If you have any questions regarding the session, any feedback, feel free to pop it in the Q&A console. Like we'll take care of it. So I think this question might be for Andre. So what are the next features that might be on the roadmap for Drizzle? So like what do you might see come to life in the near future?
Yeah, so if we're talking about Drizzle and SingleStore, then the next one is Drizzle Seed that I showcased you. It's not in the latest one. Then it's in relational queries where you can write your queries not in SQL-like way, but in a way of like objects. We already have like V1 version and we are redoing it and make it better in version 2. And we are bringing this support to SingleStore as well. We worked with SingleStore team to make few functions available in database to make it really performant. And the most important thing that it's always one query. So there's no n+1 problem that you will have and you think you may have from ORMs. The most important thing for us is to always make one SQL query to not making this problem for you. Yeah.
Awesome, sounds good. And like not in terms with like integration with SingleStore, like if there's any other features that you might want to talk about like that's specific to Drizzle, you're welcome to do it as well.
Yeah, so we have a lot of updates for Drizzle ORM. So we currently rewriting the architecture we have. We're already on 300,000 lines of code of rewriting. It's like 6 months of work already. And we're redoing the architecture just to make building on top of Drizzle really easy. So if you want to build something on top of it, make some layer using some pattern you need, it should be much easier for you. Then we completely rewrote the Drizzle kit engine. So now it's will be much smarter to understand what actually changed in your database, what should be done to make it possible to change. And we've grew from 600 test cases to almost 10,000 test cases for Drizzle kit which should cover a lot of things that were not working before and should work well. We spent with our team 6 months already, I hope a few months, and we will release all of that because we want to test it really well. And really great for Drizzle Studio because we brought the schema management to Drizzle Studio. In UI, you can actually see your tables, change them, alter them. And the Drizzle Studio will actually use the new Drizzle Kit diff engine that will understand and know what should be changed in database to not lose your data and actually make everything work really well. So there are a lot of things we're working on.
Right, that's super cool. That's insane. We're very excited to see it. So there's another question. Like, what do you think about the single store Drizzle connector?
I didn't get the question. Like, what does mean by that? How it works
Petra,
well?
can you reiterate the question? Like, I think I won't be the best person to explain it. So if Petra can reiterate it, that would be great. Like, you can talk more about the connector that you have with single store, something like that.
Yeah, so basically we have this thing in Drizzle that dialects and drivers. So dialects is the database itself, and we have specific features for each database we support. So we don't have this like abstraction for all database in ORM. We specifically did the separations of the features for each database. We actually copy them. So we don't follow, don't repeat yourself pattern. We actually repeat ourselves a lot. We just have different folders with all of the features for each database. It's a possibility for us to actually bring as much as database has. And some databases have something that other database doesn't. And we try to embrace all of those features. And for SingleStore, we're also doing the same. So the connector on the dialect terms with SingleStore and Drizzle is really great just because we have separate folder with all of the SingleStore feature, meaning SingleStore team can also contribute there and do something they need, and they're doing that. We can do that. It's all separated. We can evolve our API for specific databases and for SingleStore in a manner we think is good, and we can collaborate with SingleStore team to get our vision like together. And then we have this driver thing that is just the client that communicates with database. SingleStore doesn't have their own client. We're just using like another open source MySQL compatible client, which just works. So yeah, this is the answer.
Okay, so we have a question from the audience. They're saying that what is the backend of Drizzle if you're comfortable sharing that?
Backend of Drizzle?
Yeah, that's the question from the audience.
I also didn't get this question, but I'll try to answer. So
I'll explain.
Yeah.
Basically, what does your infrastructure kind of look like? Like, Pedro, I hope I'm correct. You think it's okay?
Yeah, well, I think you can state the technologies behind Drizzle. Maybe since Drizzle it's the tool itself, it's written in TypeScript. That is like the short answer, I believe.
Yeah, so
but
if you're talking about, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, but you can if you want to, and if you're comfortable sharing it, you can share other technologies that you use in Drizzle as an org or on $1 stats, for example.
Okay, so I won't share what we use for $1 starts yet, but soon I can do that. But if you're talking about Drizzle ORM, it's open source library. But one of the great things that Drizzle ORM is zero dependency library, meaning we don't use anything from other libraries. Everything you see in Drizzle, we wrote ourselves. All of the functions, of the logic, all of the math for like stuff we have. The Drizzle ORM is completely zero dependency library. For Drizzle Kit, we're using some of them just to like ES build to make it possibility to get the schema for you and then read it. But all of that is open sourced, so you can actually check that. We have all codes available for you. For Drizzle Seed, we just use one library that do all the mathematics for actually calculating this deterministic stuff to make it possible to generate exact same values from every generation. It's only one library that has all of the mathematics inside. It doesn't mean we can't do it. It's just a mathematics and formulas, but we saw it's no need to actually write all the formulas ourselves if you already have libraries that can actually do that. So this is like the thing behind our open source parts. For Drizzle Studio, we just host on Cloudflare, and then everything else is written by us. As I explained, we have a lot of open source libraries that we build in because we need them, and then we share it with the world. So basically, most of those is just we are doing it for ourselves. We even wrote our own CLI command tool for Drizzle Kit because we were using different libraries. It was not as type safe and great for us. It doesn't mean those libraries are bad. We just wanted something else, and we also created even the libraries that can output some CLI thing that Drizzle Kit is doing. So yeah.
That sounds great. So, yeah, I think the questions from the audience are now resolved. So, we also have Chetan that has joined from the team. Chetan, do you have any questions or if you have anything to say?
No, I'm super excited for the integration that we have built with Drizzle, and it is like we were at SingleStore. We want to be closer to the developers, and like with the Drizzle ORM's integration with SingleStore and all the features that are coming in, I think we'll be able to solve a lot of problems that TypeScript customers might face, right? And yeah, I'm really excited for the work that we have been doing with Drizzle. And thanks, Andre and Pedro, for it. And yeah, looking forward to more such sessions, the blogs that are coming in, and I was really looking forward to the demo that Pedro had for the MCP server, where you can just ask it to create a project for you. But yeah,
If
I'll
Pedro is comfortable, like I can share it right now. We still have 8 minutes. He mentioned it's 7 minutes. If he can share it on my computer, I might be able to share it.
Yeah, sure. Let me send you the link.
yeah. And apart from this, we'll also put it on our YouTube channel,
Oh,
probably
yeah, absolutely.
that more apart from this, there will be a short snippet for the Pedro's MCP project that we have, right? So that customers can see that part as well.
Awesome. So, what I'll do is that, just give me a second. Okay, this might just take a second to load. Just give me a second. It's processing.
Yeah, while it's loading, if I may say something that I've been working personally with Andre and the Drizzle team for I think over a year now, and I'm super excited more than having this integration with Drizzle with the Drizzle project itself. Me as a developer, a TypeScript developer, I've always found annoying to say the least for you to query your database. You're building a backend or you're building a script and you query your database and you have to serialize yourself the data that is coming from the database. And I felt like for 5 years ago, I fell in love with ORMs. And after I discovered the Drizzle one, it was like a no-brainer. Once I joined SingleStore, was a no-brainer that SingleStore had to be included in such an amazing tool. So if you haven't, please check out. If you're new to Drizzle, please check out this project. Check out their webpage on drizzle.orm, I believe. And yeah, then follow them on their social, see the work that these guys are doing. It's amazing, and I'm on part of SingleStore. I'm very excited to be partnering with Drizzle. And yeah, I think we now have the video.
Just let me know if you're able to hear the sound and everything.
Sure. Hello everyone. Today I'll be showing you how you can use Microsoft Copilot and SingleStore MCP server to create a Drizzle app from scratch. So I'll be using VS Code and Copilot, of course, for this tutorial, and on agent mode using Claude Sonnet 4. So first we have to configure our MCP server, and as you can see, I have an empty directory with one hidden directory, which is the .vs code, where you'll have a file called mcp.json, and this is where you define the connection to your MCP server. You just have to add to the servers list a SingleStore MCP server, and with the following commands to get it started. As you can see, he already discovered 9 tools, okay, and it's already running. Next, you'll have to have a starter workspace on SingleStore platform, and for that you can navigate to singlestore.com and create one. If you don't have an account, you can create one. It's free, and you're going to navigate to deployments and create a starter workspace. So for this, you're going to click on the toggle, new deployment, and in my case, I already have one, but you can click here, and this will create a starter workspace. To connect to the starter workspace, you click connect, you click your app, select the Node.js plus Drizzle option, and you'll have the connection string right here. I already have mine on my prompt, which you're going to see next. So you copy this one, and now you go back to your VS Code, and first, before you prompt the app that you want to your agent, you first need to provide more context on what Drizzle is and what SingleStore is. And for that, that's where the MCP comes. So you click on Add Context. You can navigate to MCP resources, and if you're not familiar with MCP resources, they're basically files or records for you to provide more context to your agent. So you'll see the SingleStore Drizzle guide, and you'll click on it. And if you want to expect, this is basically a markdown file explaining how SingleStore Drizzle connector works. So the LLM would have more context. So I already have my prompt here, and it's very simple. I just want a simple Express app using Drizzle and SingleStore with only one endpoint for this demo. I'm going to provide a database URL so we can connect straight away to the database and test the connection, apply migrations to the database. But if you're not comfortable to copy and pasting the URL here, don't worry, it'll create a .env file with a placeholder, and you can replace it afterwards. So let's see what he can build, what's going to build with this prompt. So first, you're going to examine the directory. You'll see that we have an empty directory, and we'll create the package.json with our dependencies. So of course, we'll have an Express dependency, the Drizzle ORM, MySQL 2, which is the driver that we'll use to connect to our database. Since SingleStore it's MySQL compatible, and the .env file to the .env for us to have environment variables. Next, and very important, as dev dependency, we'll need Drizzle Kit as well to apply migrations to our database. So change the schema basically. He also configured the connection to to Drizzle, and he started to specify the schema. So let's examine that. So we're only going to have one table, the users table, and if we navigate to the index.ts, we'll see that we have an Express app that only has one endpoint, as we stated. He wants to install the dependencies. I'm going to let him run the npm install commands on my terminal. And if we getting back to the Express app, we can see that, okay, he wants to generate the schema. I'm going to let him. I just open a terminal right here, and if we navigate exactly, as you can see, he is applying the migrations, in this case creating the table, the users table, and now he wants to actually create on our virtual workspace. And if we navigate here and go to the databases and we examine the content of our database, we'll see that we'll have one table, the users table, with the columns that is specified. So navigating back here is going to start the server as a development server. Going to sleep. He actually got the output that he wanted. Yes. Okay, yeah, and it seems to have stopped. So if I'm now run npm dev, I've seen that, yeah, I have a working Express app with no code written, or I mean, the code was written, but by an agent. I didn't write any code. And if I navigate to the users endpoint, I can see that, of course, we have no users, but the endpoint works. So here how you can create a Drizzle app using our MCP server. Hope this was very helpful for you, and let us know. Feel free to contact us on our social media to share the apps that you created. Thank you.
Awesome. This was an amazing demo by you, Pedro. So yeah, me and Pedro were just having a conversation on Slack, and we will bring this back as a entire webinar for everyone. We would love your feedback. And if you like today's session, we will also be sending you a recording, which will have the resources to everything, which will also include Andrew's GitHub code. So if you want to replicate everything, feel free to sign up. And for those that will watch the recording in future, everything will be sent to you in the email that will be present when you share that will be present in the email that which will contain the recording. So feel free to access that, and if you are stuck anywhere, feel free to DM me on LinkedIn anytime. My DM is really open. So yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, so regarding someone's credit question, the thing is that you should be getting credits if you sign up using a new email address be like specific to this webinar. But if you're not getting that, like 100%, if you like sign up using a new email address, that should definitely add credits to your account. It has always worked for me. But if it doesn't happen, and Pedro, does the Gmail work for SingleStore? Like I know like a lot of people use singles. Yeah, so this person like someone claims that they Gmail is not working for them, so it might be an issue. I don't understand like why that might be happening. So that's one question that I have. So if there's anything else, uh like generally, like I've also used Gmail, it has worked. So maybe you have used that same Gmail account like previously, so maybe you're not seeing the credits, something or the other. Like feel free to use another burner account if you have. If you still don't see anything, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll get you sorted with the intercom. So yeah, thanks everyone for attending. Your time is really precious for us. Thanks, Andre, for agreeing to do this webinar with us. We hope for many more to come. And thanks, Pedro and Chetan, for organizing this. And yeah, have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the night. And take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, bye.